Hello, my beauties and beasties out there. I'm DF, and welcome to Beauties and Beasts, a podcast of all things Beauty and the Beast. So, a lot of people say writing fan fiction is a waste of time. There's no way to get money out of that, after all. But not when your fan fiction turns into a successful 7-season ABC TV series. I'm talking about Once Upon a Time, one of the biggest Disney fan fictions out there, and it's official since ABC is owned by Disney. Once Upon a Time first aired in 2011. Its basic premise being that every fairy tale character you know, whether it's from Grimm's or Anderson or just one of the random Disney movies that has nothing to do with the fairy tales, is banished by the evil queen to a world where there are no happy endings. Our world. Ooh! And none of them remember who they are. And 28 years later, the daughter of Snow White and Prince Charming, Emma Swan, arrives in the mysterious town of Storybrooke and is predestined to break the curse and set everyone free. But if I were to talk about all 7 seasons, yes, I've watched them all, we'd be here for days. I am mainly here to talk about the show's reimagination of Beauty and the Beast, which is a reimagination of Disney's reimagination, really, in which the Beast Belle ends up falling for is Rumpelstiltskin from the Grimm brothers' fairy tale, not done by Disney, oddly enough. Wonder why. Basically, the Beauty and the Beast tale is different when the Beast truly is a monster. So why am I crazy about this ship more than any other couple in this show? I will talk about a few other couples that fit into the Beauty and the Beast dynamic. If you patrons who are in the chat have a favorite one you want me to touch upon, let me know at the end of the stream. Although it looks like Belle PinkSavage hasn't watched it, so this ought to be fun. Yeah, so spoiler warning, as I will mention major plot points here. And it's 7 seasons, so a lot of plot lines. First, I'd like to start off by thanking my $5 plus patrons, Arvin Joshua Rocks 15, Bella PinkSavage, Cosmic Trail, Poppy X Branch 2000, and TyrannosaurusVenom. You too can support this podcast by pledging as a patron today. Just go to patron.podbean.com/beautiesandbeasts. That's patron.podbean.com/beautiesandbeasts. You can also buy my merchandise on Redbubble, on apparel, decor, stationery, and much more. I've got Beauties and Beasts merch, Pride merch, holiday merch, and much, much more. Just go to disneyfanatic23.redbubble.com. That's disneyfanatic23.redbubble.com. So, quick backstory on the origins of these characters. We already talked about where Beauty and the Beast came from in episode 1 of this podcast. Let's talk about Rumpelstiltskin, which I might go into more detail in another future episode. In the Grimm's fairy tale, Rumpelstiltskin is this magical imp that helps a miller's daughter spin straw into gold because her dad's a bragging idiot, in exchange for her firstborn child. And when the girl becomes queen and has the child, she wants to keep it, and Rumpel offers a chance that if she can guess his name within 3 days, then she can keep the child. Of course, his is so ridiculous she has to cheat to guess it. Yeah. In my opinion, Rumpelstiltskin was kind of screwed over in that fairy tale and didn't exactly get what he deserved. But anyway, in the Once Upon a Time-averse, Rumpelstiltskin is known as the Dark One. Originally, he was a poor and cowardly man who didn't want his son going off to war. I mean, he was like 14. So he stabbed the then Dark One with his enchanted dagger to gain his powers and become the Dark One himself. Which essentially means he's got the darkest powers and he gets to live forever. But his son Balefire wants his old dad back and tries to take him to a world without magic. But Rumpel doesn't want to give up his newfound power and go back to being a weak coward and ends up losing his son in a portal to another world. Which is why he creates a dark curse so he can find a way back to his son, and he eventually gets that dark curse to the evil queen from Snow White because it involves a sacrifice of the thing you love most, and Rumpel doesn't have a thing he loves most, at least in this world. Oh yeah, and his first wife also ran off with Captain Hook, so he hasn't had much luck in the love department. Yeah, be prepared for the convoluted crossovers in this series. So, this series is mostly told in flashbacks, so we get a lot of this information out of order, so bear with me if I jump around. Belle isn't introduced until episode 12, Skin Deep, the Valentine's Day special. We see in the flashback, Sir Maurice is at war with the ogres, and he calls upon Rumpelstiltskin for help. And Rumpel asks Maurice, in exchange for his assistance, his daughter. And Belle's fiancé, Sir Gaston, objects, but Rumpel is not looking for love. He is looking for a caretaker for his rather large estate. Maurice says no, because, what father would agree to something like that? But Belle accepts the deal to save her village, saying that no one decides her fate but her. So, Rumpel brings her home and throws her in a dungeon cell. Relationship is off to a great start. Rumpelstiltskin tells Belle that she'll serve his meals, clean the castle, fetch him straw, and skin the children that he hunts for their pelts. Yeah, joking about the last one, but it scares her enough to chip a teacup. Chip, get it? Months go by, Belle starts getting curious about her captor, asking, for example, why he spins straw into gold so much when he already has more gold than he'll ever spend. He says he likes to watch the wheel, helps to forget. Forget what? I guess it worked. Yep, fun little humor moments like that. And he also ends up rescuing her when she falls from a ladder. She finds out that he lost his son after finding a child's clothing in the attic. And she tells him how she's always wanted to see the world and be a hero, as there are not many opportunities for women in this land. So that's why she agreed to his deal. She didn't even care for her fiancé, Gaston, which is good since Rumpel turns him into a rose the minute he shows up at the castle to rescue Belle. Yeah, didn't even hesitate there. Belle wants to know more about Rumpelstiltskin's son, so he makes a deal with her. If she goes to town to fetch him some straw, he'll share his tale when she returns. And Belle is like, wait, you trust me enough to come back? Oh no, dearie, I'll expect I'll never see you again. So Belle goes out, and she's prepared to make a run for it, when who should come out of the blue in her carriage but the evil queen, Regina. She figures out that Belle is running from her master and/or lover, almost like she's been spying, and suggests she try true love's kiss to break the curse upon Rumpelstiltskin. After all, he did give her the chance to run away. Belle returns, and Rumpelstiltskin pretends not to be excited. And he asks why she came back, and she says, well, I wasn't going to, but then something changed my mind. And then she goes in for the kiss. Squee! And he starts changing back to a human. And Belle says, kiss me again, it's working, any curse can be broken. And Rumpel, enraged, figures out what happened. And he goes on and on about how Belle never cared for him, and that this is her being the hero and killing the beast. And Belle cries, but this means that it's true love. Why won't you believe me? Because no one could ever love me. So he throws her back in her cell. Yeesh. It helps if the beast actually wants his curse broken. So, Rumpelstiltskin comes back sometime later and tells her to go, that he doesn't want her anymore. But Belle is not prepared to go without one last confrontation. And she says that he could have had happiness if he had just believed that someone could want him. But he insists that his power just means more to him than her. And Belle's last words are that all he'll have now is an empty heart and a chipped cup. Ah, the feels! Sometime later, Regina comes to tell Rumpelstiltskin that when Belle came home, nobody wanted her because of her association with the Dark One, and also her fiancé went missing. Oh, gee, whose fault was that? And that her father had shunned her and tortured her, locked her up, and she eventually threw herself off a tower. A broken-hearted Rumpel then keeps the chipped cup as memory of the love he once lost. That would have been the end of the story if Regina hadn't lied about Belle being dead and that she was actually still alive and locked up under her jurisdiction. Okay, I know we eventually grow to love Regina as a character, but you have to admit, in Season 1, she was awful. Belle and Rumpelstiltskin eventually are reunited in the real world with memories restored, but Rumpel, while willing to hold on to her this time and actually enter a relationship with her, is still bent on power. Well, not entirely for selfish reasons. I mean, he is trying to get his son back, though, to keep all this from Belle for some reason. And he still does dark stuff behind her back. And oh my god, there are a lot of things about this relationship that are toxic. Kind of a general theme of this show, as soon as something good happens, something extremely awful happens to mess it all up. Yeah, doesn't end at happily ever after. There's more to it than that. And Rumpelstiltskin is the king of messing up in this show. Ugh, sorry, I love him as a character. Robert Carlyle is an excellent actor, but god, there are many times that I'm just so frustrated. Let's make a list of his biggest screw-ups. 1, hiding the fact that he killed his first wife. I mean, in fairness, how do you bring something like that up on a date? But he made up for it by rescuing her from Mr. Smee and Belle's controlling dad and then giving her a library to run. And a place of her own so that she doesn't feel like she has to stay with him. But, she still insists, you want to go out for a hamburger sometime? And, things were pretty good from that point, until Captain Hook causes Belle to lose her memories. Honestly, anytime any character loses their memories in the show, I get frustrated. And then Regina makes Belle believe that she's an alcoholic gambler named Lacey, apparently into bad boys, so she's okay with being Rumpel's sugar baby. Oh god, I hated this plotline so much. What did you people do to my favorite princess? Luckily, this didn't last more than half a season, and when Rumpelstiltskin is offered the opportunity to restore Belle's memories, he takes it. Thank you. We agree that old sweet Belle is better, even if this version of Belle kind of likes her dark side better. You got it. She needs to know who she is. Thank you. You didn't spend too much time thinking about that. Then there are more heartbreaking moments, like Rumpelstiltskin sacrificing himself to save the world from his dad, Peter Pan, who's evil. Long story. But then he comes back, but at the cost of his son, who, by the way, had a kid with Snow White's daughter, who is now dating Captain Hook, who had run away with Rumpelstiltskin's first wife long ago. I know, the family tree in this show is just so messed up. And I see PinkSavage in the chat is like, what? I know. By the end of season 3, Rumpelstiltskin and Belle get married, and Rumpel gives Belle his dagger, the only thing that can control/kill him, to show that he trusts her. Although it turns out, it's a fake dagger, and he goes trying to steal other people's magic behind her back. And you were doing so well, my man. And when Belle finds his real dagger, she banishes him from Storybrooke. And he comes back after a while with 3 villainesses, and by that time, Belle is having a romantic affair with the Knave of Hearts / Will Scarlet. Another long story explained in the Wonderland spin-off. And then we learn the reason Rumpel is doing this is all because his darkness is taking its toll and slowly killing him. So he's been looking for a way to expel that darkness from his heart. Gee, this is something worth discussing with your wife when you have some kind of chronic condition. You don't just hide it away and then try to cure it by ill means. Yeah, communication's important, people. They do manage to get the darkness out, and then Rumpel finds a way to be the Dark One again, because he just can't let it go. Oh yeah, and when Belle won't come back to him, he ends up having an affair with the evil side of Regina in a whole Dr. Jekyll and Hyde subplot, which was gross. I'm sorry. And then there's this whole thing where Belle gets pregnant, and Rumpelstiltskin had once promised his second-born child to someone else a long time ago, and the debt needs to be collected. While he does manage to find a way out of it, Belle can't forgive him for selling her child, among other things, and the fact that he became the Dark One behind her back, and also finds out that, he had killed her fiancé and just neglected to tell her. So, Belle wants to keep her child far away from Rumpelstiltskin because he's kind of being a maniac at this point, and sends her newborn son, Gideon, with the fairies. Only for him to be stolen by the Dark Fairy, aka Rumpelstiltskin's mother. I know, no wonder Rumpel has problems. Belle and Rumpel then get into a big argument over whose fault it is. Like, you kept my child from me. I was protecting him from you. Yeah, well, if they hadn't sent him off, then he wouldn't have been kidnapped. And yeah, well, if you hadn't been such a control freak. Until Belle finally says, what have we done to us? And what have we done to our son? Yeah, I'd have to give them both points on fucking up on this particular situation. But Rumpel still kind of gets the most points of messing up. Then Gideon comes back, the exact same day that he was born and stolen, fully grown, because he was in another dimension where time ran differently. Yeah, I know, the timelines in this show are just weird. And the Dark Fairy had kept him imprisoned and poisoned his mind, and he's now hellbent on revenge against his father. This family needs some serious therapy. Eventually, the Dark Fairy is defeated, and Gideon is turned back into a baby, so Rumpel and Belle can have a do-over as parents. Hey, didn't they do this in Star vs. the Forces of Evil? Kind of a cop-out, but what else are you gonna do? Technically, that kid never had a chance. You'd think the series would have ended in Season 6 where, all the evil people are defeated, everything's wrapped up, people are having babies. But no, we have Season 7 with a new curse and new universe of the next generation of fairy tales, which brings a bit of a bittersweet end to the Rumbelle ship. Prepare for tears. So after all the battles are over in Storybrooke, Rumpel and Belle, with their baby Gideon, decide to travel the realms, just like Belle had always wanted to do. Years go by, and Belle and Gideon age while Rumpel stays the same. And Rumpel starts wishing that he can remove his powers and immortality and grow old with his wife. Finally, dude, you're getting your priorities straight. Belle takes him to a place where time is different and the sun never sets. And they build a home there. They spend a whole life together, the opening sequence of Up style, until Belle, one day, when she is old, falls off a ladder, and he catches her. And as she lays dying, she says she knew that this would happen, and that she had just wanted to spend these last days with him in a normal life, and that he'll find a way to join her soon. Yeah, they became healthy in the end, and God, why do you do this to me, show? Why? So, Rumpel and Gideon bury Belle, and Gideon, now a grown man again, offers to lay his father to rest by stabbing him with the dagger and becoming the Dark One. But Rumpel will not let his son or anyone else carry that burden. The dude finally learns that power isn't worth it. He actually came a long way after several major screw-ups. And so season 7, Rumpel spends his time looking for a way to make it back to Belle and die without passing on his dark powers. And when he does, he and Belle dance to Beauty and the Beast in heaven. Oh God, despite how many times this couple's made me frustrated, they also really, really, really give me the feels. So, what do we learn from this couple? Well, I guess what we learn is that no matter how many times people mess up, they can still find a way to work things out if they really love each other. Like taking over the world, killing ex-boyfriends, lying about weaknesses, having affairs. Okay, ideally, if the mistake is that big, it's a problem, but you get the picture. That, love isn't easy. There will be some bumps in the road, and you gotta be patient, and you gotta be loyal. Probably not to that extent, but you gotta be willing to stand by your partner and help them through their hardships. And also communicate with your partner so there are no misunderstandings and you end up doing something really reckless behind their backs. Although this couple did go through several rough patches, Rumpel eventually learned that there's more to life than power, and to let go of his loved ones while still keeping them in his heart. And that love is a give as well as a take. Now, they're not the only couple that has to overcome differences, physically and morally. There are several villain and hero relationships in the show, for example, like Emma Swan and Captain Hook, Emma helping Captain Hook get over his obsession for revenge and letting go of his first love, who was killed by Rumpelstiltskin. and moving on and becoming the hero that she deserves. And then the Evil Queen and Robin Hood, which was surprising, but it did work for the short time that it was around. Robin Hood showing Regina that she could still be loved, even with all the mistakes she made. I mean, he made some mistakes himself. He's considered a hero, but he's also a thief. And there are even villain and villain romances, like the Wicked Witch of the West and Hades. Also, there's a small pairing with Dorothy Gale and Red Riding Hood, who's a werewolf in this. That was just for one episode, but even that was wholesome. And Red Riding Hood found somebody who didn't mind the beastly wolf side of her. And it turned out to be Dorothy, which kind of makes sense. I mean, they both are basket carriers, and they are associated with canines and wild beasts and men with axes. Just saying, they have some things in common. Some of these couples end with happily ever after, some tragically. Big spoiler alert, like Robin Hood ends up sacrificing himself for Regina. And, Regina's lost love before, but the important thing is that after she lost Robin, she found the strength to move on. She wasn't hell-bent on revenge like last time she lost her true love. To show that she really had changed, and that even that brief time with Robin had been enough for her. Emma and Captain Hook ended up getting married and having a kid themselves. And the Wicked Witch of the West and Hades. The Hades ended up being destroyed by Zelena, the Wicked Witch herself, because she couldn't forgive him for hurting her sister Regina like that. Oh yeah, the Wicked Witch of the West and the Evil Queen are sisters. Another convoluted family tree thing. Anyway. I was going to ask you if any of you patrons had any couples in Once Upon a Time that you wanted to talk about, but since Bella's not seen Once Upon a Time, I guess not. But if you want me to talk about some other couples in the future specifically, I don't think I'd be able to talk about every single one in this particular episode. Or if you want me to talk about in detail the full fairy tale of Rumpelstiltskin, sure, because that is an interesting one that I don't think gets enough proper adaptations. Again, Bella PinkSavage, maybe a lot of stuff you said will make sense once I watch it myself. I know about Mulan times Merida. Now that is not an official ship, but it should have been a ship. It was like in season 5 when Merida was learning the art of war from her father, and he hired a tutor for her, and she's like, "You think I need a man to babysit me?" And then she faces the masked warrior, and then the warrior defeats her, and then the warrior takes off the helmet, and it's Mulan. Like, you may not need a man to teach you, but you can learn a few things from me. Yeah, that should have been an official ship, because it was shown in the show that Mulan had a crush on Aurora, Sleeping Beauty. That never went anywhere. Problem is that the Mulan character was one of the ones that faded into obscurity because the actress ended up moving on to another show. Yeah, a lot of the characters were forgotten in the Once Upon a Time-averse. So kind of my one issue with it. And they kind of forgot about Merida too. Like, I really wanted Mulan and Merida to get together. I'm like, that makes sense though. In this universe, it makes sense. Yeah, well, I ship it. That's one of the couples that should have been. Especially if they ended up doing Red Riding Hood and Dorothy, and then Robin Hood's daughter, Robin, with Alice in Wonderland. Yeah, that was another perk of season 7, the Alice and female Robin Hood ship. That was cool. But I think overall the theme of this show and the relationships is that love ain't easy. Even after the fairy tale weddings and the happily ever after, there will always be hardships. Maybe not big magical disasters, but personal problems like past sins and temper tantrums and mistrust and loss and grief. People have issues, and when you're in a relationship with someone, those issues become yours. That doesn't mean the love isn't worth it if you fight for it. Alright, yeah, I agree, Bella PinkSavage. Badass lesbians. It took them 5 seasons to have a lesbian couple. It was one episode. They made up for it when season 7 had female Robin Hood and Alice in Wonderland. Now, the next episode topic didn't have a poll this time because, and this will be a $15 patron request by Poppy X Branch 2000 as part of her rewards. If the username wasn't an indicator, the request is DreamWorks Trolls. I know I'm being paid for this, but I can't guarantee a positive review. Well, until next time, remember, love is no fairy tale, it's hella hard, and in reality, if your husband or wife or spouse can't give up their addiction no matter what you try, it might be a lost cause. Love has its limits. And they all lived happily ever after until something screwed something up.